introduce Rivki Gross. Okay. Rivki on? Okay. Rivki Gross started off working with children and families as a therapist specializing in DIR, floor time. She went on to study child development, the polyvagal theory, nervous system regulation, and the ideas of co-regulation attunement with children, and sense of self in depth. In her own journey, she has practiced and then trained in modalities such as somatic experiencing, breathwork, bodywork, EFT, IFS. Now she works with children, families, adults, and couples in individualized sessions to move through constriction as manifesting physically or emotionally to create and allow space for more flow, peace, ease, health, and aliveness. Facilitations with Rivki, depending on age and developmental stage, include movement, breath work, body work, somatic healing, emotional release work, nervous system regulation work, source code, emotional code, embodiment work, hypnosis, and more. She offers group facilitations as well. Here's to living all the way alive. Okay, Rivki? Rivki on?
Hello. Hi.
Oh, nice to see you, Rivki.
Yes, so nice to see you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Okay. It's an honor to be here. I've never been in this group before, and I am deeply honored to be here. Before I ever speak, I like to say, and I guess you can join in on my tefillah that I say, but I'd like to say, Hashem sifazai tiftach ufi yageh tefillah sacha. Hashem, help me open up so I can be a conduit for connection with you and the divinity within each one of us. Help me align with you and connect to a place of wholeness, to open and allow flow inside of me and in the space. To be a conduit for truth and for healing, and to see myself and those around me as you see us. My purpose of being here is so that what's alive inside of me should touch what's alive inside of you today, every one of you. And I was talking to my friend, Folly Klein. I'm wondering how many of you know her. And yesterday, and I said, I'm going to be speaking tomorrow. Mrs. Batya asked me if I can speak. And I said, what should I speak about? And she said, it's time to say that story. And I said, that story? I don't want to say that story. That's too personal. And she said, Rivki, it's time to say that story. There's lots of people here. It's a story I've only shared with friends and some family. And she said, it's time to say it. And I said, probably someone I trust implicitly. And I said, okay, then it's time to say that story. So I'm going to start with that story. And we'll see where we go. So two years ago during COVID, right at the beginning, my grandmother passed away, and my family was, my mom was sitting Shiva, and I was taking care of some people in my family, and it was almost Pesach, and I was very sick that week. I had fever, my face was a little bit blue, I had a hard time breathing, but I was kind of just like pushing through and not really noticing it or wanting to notice it. Right when my mother got up from Shiva, I collapsed just physically, and Hatsala came. I needed some fluids. They were monitoring my oxygen and my heart rate, and I ended up going into bed for a while. And then there was a Friday that I had this gut feeling that I was going to die. And at this point in my journey, I had known to trust my gut feelings, to differentiate what was a gut feeling and what was anxiety, right? And I was like, this is a real feeling. This is a real feeling. And I asked the Hatzalah member that day, I said, what happens if I stop breathing while I'm sleeping? And he laughed and he said, Rifki, if you stop breathing while you sleep, you're going to wake up. And that night, I had my phone near my bed. He had said, call me on Shabbos if you stop breathing. And I woke up that night and I was not breathing. And I could not make a phone call. And I was gasping for air. And then, and I was just laying there and kind of gasping. And then I saw myself kind of leaving my body. And I saw myself floating above my body. And I was laying there and I saw my life flash in front of me, years of the years of my life, of this life. And I saw each year, circumstance, experience, and they weren't all happy experiences. I saw painful experiences and traumatic experiences and beautiful experiences, but it was more like the feelings, right? The things that I've experienced. And I watched it kind of like movie reels going. And I don't know how long I was there. I don't know what the time in this world like looked like. And then I heard a voice and it sounded like it was a loudspeaker in my room. I don't know if it was in my head, but what it sounded like was like a speaker from the corner of my room. And the voice asked me, Rifki, using my name, do you want to be alive? And I listened and I contemplated this and I thought about it. And I thought about just 5, 6, 10 years before what I would have answered, how I would have answered. And I allowed this question to marinate. And then I felt this full body, visceral reaction of, yes, I want to be alive. I want to know what it feels like to live while I'm alive. And I felt this new energy, this new vitality, this new newness enter my body through the top of my head. And I felt almost like this new vibrancy. And I checked my pulse ox that was on my finger, that was measuring the oxygen, and I saw it rise because it had been dropping. 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s, and I saw it rise, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, as that happened to me. And I've been on the journey to learn what it means, but I think that was a real catalyst and for me to say and to see, right, that I really do want to live all the way alive. And I received an opportunity that I have an incredible amount of gratitude for, because not only did I receive a chance to live again, I chose, right? I made a choice to live all the way alive. I received the opportunity to make a choice. And the first thing I want to say is that I think the purpose, what Fali was saying, to share this story that feels really tender and emotional and personal to me, is that others can hear this and not need an experience like this to make our own choices, to make their own choices, to live in this way that's fully alive. So that is the story. If I may, if everybody can close their eyes for a moment, I would love to lead you through something that's meaningful to me. So if that would be okay, closing your eyes, feeling our feet on the ground, meeting ourselves exactly where we're at, feeling all the ways in which our body is supported, grounded, tethered, rooted to the earth, feeling your back supported by the chair behind you, feeling perhaps roots growing from your feet or quicksand or magnets, whatever you can imagine in your brain that feels grounded, tethered, rooted to the earth, gravity pulling us down, keeping us here. And if you can, I want you to imagine a container around you. It can be anything, a balloon, a snow globe, an igloo, something that feels comfortable and gives you the right amount of space and containment that would feel good for you. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Sigh it out through your mouth. Another deep breath in through your nose. Sigh it out through your mouth. And if you can, just imagine a place in nature, a place that makes you feel good, whole. I want you to imagine yourself in this space, contained, grounded, tethered, spacious, supported. When you're ready, picture a warm, liquidy, beautiful light entering through the crown of your head, dripping its way down your face, softening your eyebrows, the space between your eyes, your forehead, your eyes, your mouth, your ears, your jaw. Allow it to drip down your neck and the back of your neck, softening the kinks in your back, your shoulders, down your arms, through each of your fingers, stopping at the end of your fingers, filling up your body with this warm light. Allow it to go back again down your chest, your torso, into your belly. Let it swirl around in your chest and your heart and your belly. Feel into your heart. Does it feel open? Does it feel closed? Just notice. Just notice. Allow it to go down your body, your pelvic area, your legs, your thighs, and your knees. Swirl around inside your knees, the front and back of your knees, down your calves, into your ankles, your feet, each toe. Allow the bottom of your feet to keep the light inside of you. Take another deep breath in, breathing in this new softening. And I want you to see if you can become aware of a place in your body that perhaps feels uncomfortable, that's perhaps holding some pain or constriction. Where does the breath stop? Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Is it stopping at your throat? Is it stopping at your heart? Is it stopping in your belly? Is it stopping in one of your legs? Allow yourself to focus on this point of constriction. Breathe into it. Put your hand on it if you can. Allow it to be here. Witness it with love. If you can, put a color or a shape to what it is that's the constriction. Perhaps it's a green circle or a red triangle. And then put a sensation to it. Is it tight? Stay here for a moment with it, at this point of constriction. The only way to melt constriction is with love and compassion. Send some of this light, some of this love, some of this compassion, some of your breath to this space. Take another deep breath in, all the light, bring it to that space. Stay here for another few seconds. And then with another breath, I want you to focus on a space in your body that feels good, that feels expansive, that feels open. And if your body feels tight or coiled, which sometimes happens, find one space. It can be a finger. I want you to see if you can put a color to it. Perhaps it's white and it looks like a cloud, or it's pink and it looks like a heart. Focus on the space, allow it to expand inside of your body. Imagine it getting bigger and bigger. Sometimes it can be hard for us to allow ourselves to feel that much good or expansion. Sit in it for a moment, witness it, become aware of it. Stay here. When you're ready, I want you to go back to that place of constriction. Stay there for a moment. And then quickly to that space of expansion. Stay there for a moment. Back to constriction. Back to expansion. Back to constriction. Back to expansion. And then I want you to allow them both to neutralize. See if you can perhaps feel both of these things at the same time. Challenge your brain, challenge your body. Does not need to be perfect. Just try. When you're ready, I want you to return, if you can, to that heaviness, to that grounding, to your feet on the ground. See if you can perhaps feel heavier. See if that space of constriction feels a little bit lighter, or that space of expansion feels a little bit larger, or perhaps you feel neutral. When you're ready, take another deep breath. And if you can, I'm going to say, you can say these words together with me of Elokai Nishama Shanasata Bi Tehorahi. Hashem, the neshama that you gave me is pure. Elokai Nishama Shanasata Bi Tehorahi. One more time. Elokai Nishama Shanasata Bi Tehorahi. One more time there. I'm feeling one more time. Elokai Nishama Shanasata Bi Tehorahi. Take another deep breath in. Sigh it out. Feel into the light that's in your body, the heaviness and the softness, paradoxically. And I want you to say these words with me of Modeh ani lefanacha, Melech chai v'kayam, she'chazarta bi nishmasi, chemla rabba u'nasecha. And when we thank Hashem for returning our neshamos in the morning, we're also thanking ourselves, right? Because each of us have a neshama, a pure neshama, which is a piece of Hashem inside of us, a piece of source, a piece of divinity, a piece of wholeness, a piece of God. And when we're thanking Hashem, we're thanking ourselves, we're thanking that our true selves, that piece of ourselves inside of us. Because we made the choice this morning. Every single morning, we make the choice to wake up and be alive. To wake up and be here. When you're ready, you can open your eyes if you haven't already. Again, connecting with your feet on the ground and the ways that your body is supported. In my work, a lot of the work is to move through constriction, working with constriction, right? Because when we're holding constriction in our body, whether it's manifesting on a physical level or an emotional level, like, for example, physically headaches or backaches or pelvic floor issues, or an emotional level, anxiety or depression or OCD or ADHD, right? Anything that's manifesting in our bodies, that's a point of constriction. That's not letting that flow. That's not letting the life flow through us in the way that we would like it to, the way that we want it to. And I've been learning and I've been seeing that the main fear and what is underlying the main fear is shame, and the main constriction is shame and fear. Shame and fear. And that's what I see the most often in clients of children until 70s, 80s, right? That's what I see stored in our bodies, in our cracks, in our crevices, in our secrets, in our stories, shame and fear. And like I said before in the meditation, and I'm going to say it again, the only way to melt shame and fear is with love and compassion. That is the medicine. That is what will melt it. That is what will allow it to integrate within us, to allow it to give us more energy, more vitality, more life, more wholeness. It's what's going to restore us to wholeness. And all of these modalities that Yagod, is that your name? This is
Rebbetzin Yagid.
yeah.
It's actually pronounced Yagid.
Yeah. Yagid, Rebbetzin Yagid. And all those modalities that Rebbetzin Yagid said that I've learned and that we know and that we use. The only thing that can melt shame and fear is love and compassion. I'm in social work school now, finishing my degree, and we had a professor who was talking about OCD. And very often the idea of OCD is that, like, you're pretty much in care for life. It's kind of like you're managing, right? You're managing the OCD, whether it's with medicine or constant therapy to make sure to manage it. And from what I've seen, OCD or any of these kind of things is constriction, is the fear, is holding so much fear in your body that the only way to really melt that is with equal amounts of love, of compassion, of self-love, love from another, right? And I've seen in my work and with those who I have learned from, that when we work with it, when we work with these parts of extreme fear, of these exiled parts of us, these parts that we push away, these parts that we don't want to look at, of extreme fear, of extreme shame for existence or for something that may have happened to us or may have happened to us in the past and gotten passed down, right? And I've seen this go away. I've seen people not need to take those medicines or those not need to take the medicine, not need to take the therapy, because they were able to acquire and receive love. Um, and there was one more thing I wanted to share. A month ago was Shavuos, right? And Shavuos is about receiving the Torah. And I was thinking, how does one become a receptacle? How does one become a person who receives, right? Who receives the good and the abundance and the love and the shefa from Hashem. And I thought about two answers of one is that when we have these constrictions, this pain, this shame, this fear, these patterns stored, and we can see them stored in our body, stored in our spirits, stored in our actions. It's hard for the light to flow through. It's hard for the shefa to flow through. It's hard for the abundance to come through. So when we really work and we address our physical and emotional bodies to remove the constriction, work through the pain, it is so crucial to become a receptacle. And the other thing is, and I think this aligns very much with a Nishmat's group, is that I believe that in order to become a receiver, we need to vibrate, we need to be at the frequency of a receiver. And that is a person with gratitude. That is a person who has gratitude. The frequency, the vibration, the space of a person who is a receiver, who is a receptacle, is a person with gratitude. And I was just learning yesterday from a teacher of mine that it's like sometimes we're going through the world, and I've never done this, but I've seen people do it, these virtual reality things, right? So we put on these glasses and we're moving and we're shaking and we're going on a roller coaster and there's dinosaurs coming and it feels so real, And then we take off the glasses, right? And we're like, oh, we're right here. We're here. And that's what we have to do in our life. Sometimes when we get these triggers and these feelings and we're afraid and we're feeling ashamed and we're feeling worried. And then it's just like, okay, see all those feelings, allow them to pass through, and then take off those glasses. Oh, we're here. We're okay. This is the only moment we got is the present moment. The only minute I have is this minute right now, where I'm sitting here with my feet on the ground talking to you, where you're sitting here with your feet on the ground listening. It's the only minute we have, this minute, and then the next present moment, right? And when we come back to the moment, we are okay. We're breathing. And this month is the month of Tammuz, and a big part of the month of Tammuz is the sense of sight. How do we see? How do we look at the world? Are we going outside and like we started living fully alive? Are we seeing the sun shining between the trees? Are we feeling what we need to feel so that it can pass through us and so that we can be more of a receptacle for the shefa? Are we hearing the birds? Are we seeing the rain? I want to end off with gratitude for being here, for sharing what feels true to me to the best of my ability. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you to all of you. Have a wonderful day.
Wow, Rifki, that was amazing.